Good morning, my dear friend. If you are listening to this in the quiet hours of the morning, you are not here by accident. This moment is a gift outside. The sky is still soft and pale. The first light of dawn only beginning to brush the edge of the horizon. The world is barely awake. The streets are gentle and still, but heaven is fully alert. This is the hour when hidden questions rise quietly in your heart. Maybe you are here because sleep has been a stranger to you. Night after night you have turned from one side of the bed to the other, replaying conversations, mistakes, and memories you wish you could erase. Perhaps you have faced loss recently, a loved one taken too soon, a relationship that shattered, a dream that faded quietly without anyone noticing. Or maybe fear has been sitting on your chest like a weight you cannot shake off. Fear about your future, your family, your health, your finances, or even fear that God has grown distant. You might not talk about it with anyone. On the outside, you are strong, responsible, the one people rely on. You smile when you need to. You show up when you are expected. You do what must be done. But inside, there is a tired part of you that wonders how much longer you can keep going like this. There is a corner of your soul that feels bruised and fragile, longing for a place where you do not have to pretend to be okay. If that is where you find yourself today, this moment is for you. The early morning is not just a time on the clock. It is a doorway. It is the thin place between yesterday and today, between what has been and what could yet be. In this quiet, you are invited into more than a routine or a religious habit. You are being invited into a living conversation with the one who knows every thought, every tear, every secret weight you carry. Prayer is not about having the right words. It is about bringing your real heart. Faith does not mean you never feel afraid. It means you choose to believe there is a greater hand holding you, even while you tremble. When you open your heart in these first moments of the day, you are not just sending words into the air. You are placing your worries, your wounds, and your hopes into hands that are strong enough to carry them and gentle enough to care. So as the light of morning slowly grows around you, I want to invite you to do something simple and brave. Let your guard down. Let your soul breathe. Let this be more than background audio and more than another message you hear and forget. Let it be the start of a journey, a sacred rhythm where every new day begins not with noise and hurry, but with honesty, trust, and a quiet turning of your heart toward God. If you are ready, even if your faith feels small, you are in the perfect place to begin. Take a deep breath. Let the night fall behind you, and step with me into this time of prayer. The one who sees you, knows you, and loves you is already here, waiting to meet you in the silence before the sun fully rises. Dear Heavenly Father, this morning, before the noise of the world begins, I come to you quietly, carrying the simple weight of being human. Body has awakened, but my heart is still heavy with the remains of yesterday. I do not want to start this day rushing, pretending I am strong when I am not. I come here, before the light fully rises. Because something in me knows that without you, even the brightest morning feels dim. I bring to you the small tremors of fear that already stir before my feet touch the floor. The thoughts that whisper I am not enough, that today will be too much, that peace is always just beyond reach. I confess that I have tried to fix everything alone, to hide behind schedules and screens, to drown out the ache with noise. But nothing heals the emptiness except your presence. So here I am. Not polished, not perfect, but honest. Meet me in this stillness. Father, let your quiet strength wrap around my fragile heart. Let your light seep into the corners of my thoughts where shadows still hide. Teach me to breathe again, slowly, deeply, like the earth after a long night of rain. I do not need every answer. I only need the assurance that you are here, that this day is held by hands far wiser than mine. You see the clutter of my mind, the unfinished conversations, the silent regrets. You see the fatigue behind my smiles, the fears I cannot name out loud. Yet you do not turn away. You meet me right where I am, not where I pretend to be. That truth alone steadies me. It is enough to know that I do not have to earn your attention. You have already given it, even before I speak. Help me to rest in that. Help me to stop striving long enough to remember that your mercy is new with every sunrise. Let this morning not be another routine I rush through, but a sacred pause before the storm of tasks and expectations. Let me remember that my worth is not measured by how much I accomplish, but by how closely I walk with you. As I sit here, listening to the faint hum of life outside, I want my soul to echo with gratitude. Thank you for breath, for another chance, for the miracle of simply being alive. Thank you that even when my heart feels far away, you are not distant. Thank you for the small graces, the light filtering through the window, the cool air against my skin, the quiet whisper that reminds me I am loved. There are things ahead today I cannot control, conversations I dread, responsibilities that stretch me thin, unknowns that make me anxious. But you already see them all. You are before me, beside me, and behind me. So instead of asking you to remove every challenge, I ask for strength to walk through them with peace. Replace my fear with faith, my haste with patience, my self-reliance with trust. I offer you this day as it is imperfect, unpredictable, unfinished. I place every worry, every plan, every name that burdens my heart into your keeping. I choose to begin not with panic, but with presence. Not with noise, but with listening. Teach me to move through this day as one who remembers you in every breath, who chooses kindness over hurry, faith over fear. And when the hours ahead become loud and overwhelming, remind me of this quiet beginning. Let this moment stay with me like a gentle rhythm under everything I do. Let your peace be the first sound that rises in me, the steady heartbeat that carries me through the unknown. I do not know what this day will bring, but I know you will be in it, and that is enough. Father, as the morning unfolds and the light grows stronger, I feel your quiet invitation to come closer, not with rehearsed words, but with what is real. The stillness of this hour exposes everything I try to hide. Yesterday's calm moment of surrender gave me courage to step here again. Yet I sense how easily I put the mask back on once the day begins. It is easier to appear composed than to admit how tired I am of pretending. But you see beyond the surface. You always have. You are not deceived by my calm tone or steady face. You know the trembling beneath it all. And you call me anyway, Lord. I have worn too many disguises to count. I have smiled when my heart was aching, acted strong when my spirit was weak, spoken faith when inside I was quietly doubting. I have become skilled at being fine. So much that I sometimes forget what it means to be true. But this morning, in your presence, I cannot keep up the performance. The light through the window feels like truth itself, touching the corners I keep hidden. It is almost frightening how much you know me. And yet, somehow, you stay. I confess the weight of my own contradictions. I tell people I trust you, but worry constantly. I talk about peace, yet my mind races long after the prayers end. I speak of forgiveness, but still hold memories that burn like fresh wounds. You never ask me to fix it all before coming to you. You only ask that I bring what is broken. So I lay it here, the fears, the pride, the secret disappointments, the small jealousies I wish did not live in me. Take them, Lord, not because I am worthy, but because I am wary. You know the stories I rewrite in my mind, the things I wish had said differently, the choices that haunt me. You know the nights when I scroll through the lives of others, comparing, resenting, and wondering why my own road feels so uneven. You see the promises I broke to myself and the distance I keep from you when shame whispers that I am not good enough to pray. But even that whisper must bow to your mercy. Let your voice be louder now. Remind me that being known by you is not a threat. It is freedom. Sometimes I fear that if I show you everything, every messy thought, every selfish motive, you will turn away. But deep down, I know the truth. You already saw it long before I did, and still you chose to love me. That love is the only safe place left for my honesty. So I choose to stay here, uncovered, unguarded, letting your presence be the gentle fire that purifies rather than destroys. Let my honesty be my worship. Let my tears be my confession, and my silence be the offering you understand better than words. God, teach me what it means to be transparent with you. Help me stop hiding behind good behavior and start trusting that grace is real enough to handle my imperfections. I do not want to impress you. I want to be with you. When I fall into old patterns of pretending, pull me back to truth. Remind me that you never loved the image I built. You loved the soul behind it. And if today brings moments where I am tempted to protect my pride instead of opening my heart, whisper again that honesty with you is always safer than hiding from you. There is a strange relief in being fully seen. The pressure eases, the air feels lighter, and my soul starts to breathe. I realize that this is what I have longed for all along, not perfection, but peace. The kind of peace that comes from being accepted in the middle of my process, not at the end of it. Thank you for being patient with me, for not rushing my growth or condemning my slowness to learn. You see the small steps and count them as progress. You see the desire to be genuine even when I stumble into pretense again. As I face the coming hours, help me to live outwardly the same way I speak, inward with you now, authentic, honest, unmasked. Let the gentleness you show me become the gentleness I show others. Let this quiet courage of vulnerability become my strength for the day. I do not have to be flawless to be faithful. I only have to stay real before you. That is where transformation begins. Let this morning mark a shift inside me. No more fragments of false peace or borrowed confidence. No more smiling just to hide pain. No more running from my own heart. Let truth rise in me like the sun that keeps climbing outside my window, steady, warm, unstoppable. Let your light define me, not my mistakes, not the expectations of others, not the voice of fear. And when night returns again, may I remember that the same God who met me in my honesty this morning will meet me there again with the same love that never changes, never retreats, never grows tired of calling me home to truth. Lord, I wake again into this gentle quiet, where honesty has already stripped away the weight I used to carry. Yet beneath the stillness, I sense another longing, something simpler, smaller, more intimate. Yesterday I laid down my masks, but now I find myself unsure how to speak. My heart knows you are near, but my words stumble. So I come not with long sentences or eloquent prayers. I come with a whisper. Sometimes all I can manage is your name. It feels strange that the God who formed galaxies listens when I can only breathe out a single word. But you do. You always do. Father, I used to think prayer needed beauty, as if you would only listen when my words were arranged like poetry. I filled silence with phrases that sounded holy but often felt hollow. Now, in this tender dawn, I realize you never asked for performance. You asked for presence. Even when I can say nothing, you hear everything that hides between the breaths. My silence is not empty. It is full of longing for you. When my voice trembles, you hear meaning beneath the sound. There are mornings when my thoughts scatter like birds startled by the wind. I sit here, trying to focus, but worries dart and circle, refusing to settle. In those moments, the only anchor I find is your name. I say it quietly, sometimes barely audible, but each syllable steadies me. Jesus. The sound breaks the noise inside me. Jesus. It is like light touching water, ripples spreading calm through chaos. When I whisper your name, something shifts, fear softens. Confusion clears. The air itself feels different. You do not need my speeches, Lord. You desire my heart turned toward you. When I speak your name, I am reminded that you are both infinite and near. You are the creator who holds constellations and the friend who sits beside my trembling hands. Just saying God slows the rhythm of my breathing. Just saying Father reminds me that I am not abandoned. Just saying Jesus draws warmth into the coldest corners of my soul. These words are not magic. They are memory proof that I belong to someone greater than my struggles. There have been days when darkness felt heavier than my prayers could reach. Nights when silence seemed cruel. When faith felt like shouting into an endless void. Yet even then, your name found me. sometimes through a song I barely remembered, sometimes through a verse whispered by a weary heart. Each time, that name carried weight enough to lift me again. I did not need to understand. I only needed to call. And now, in this morning light, I remember how that simple calling once saved me from despair. It was never about volume. It was about surrender. God, I do not ask you to teach me fancy prayers. Teach me instead to trust the smallest ones. Teach me that my whisper can move mountains if it carries faith. Let every repetition of your name be a heartbeat of gratitude, a rhythm of hope that keeps me anchored when storms return, when words fail. Let my sighs still reach you. When I am too tired to think, let my breath itself become a prayer. I believe you can understand what I cannot say. You always have. I think of how a child calls to their parent in the dark, not because they need eloquence, but because they trust the one who will come. That is how I want to know you. I want to wake each morning certain that one quiet Father is enough to draw your presence close. I want to walk through my day with the awareness that your name is not a sound to recite, but a place to rest. When fear approaches, when loneliness whispers, when decisions blur my vision, let my reflex be to speak your name before I speak my worry. Lord, help me to carry your name not only on my lips, but in my living. Let it shape the tone of my speech, the way I look at people, the calm in my reactions. Let it remind me that every person I meet also bears a story you love. If my words grow harsh, let the memory of your mercy soften them. If pride creeps in, let the weight of your name humble me again. Keep me aware that invoking you is sacred, not casual. Each time I speak to you, heaven bends closer. Sometimes I imagine that every whisper of your name rises like smoke from countless souls around the world, each prayer unique, yet woven together into one fragrance of love. Some voices cry out in desperation, others in joy, and still others, like mine this morning, speak softly from the middle ground between the two. And I know you hear them all. You are not overwhelmed by our need. You are moved by it. There is no competition for your attention. The same God who listens to the oceans listens also to a single whisper in a quiet room. So I will not wait until I have perfect words or perfect feelings to come to you. I will come as I am, half awake, sometimes uncertain, but open. I will speak your name when I rise, when I walk, when I breathe. I will carry it like a secret flame, small but steady, through every task and thought. Your name reminds me I am never alone, never forgotten, never out of reach. Let this be my prayer today. Not many words, but one deep desire to live aware of you, to let your name echo in the silence between moments, to let it fill the spaces where fear once lived. Let every whisper of Lord remind me that you are already near, closer than breath, listening not just to my voice, but to my heart that keeps learning how to love you more with every sunrise that breaks the night. Father, after learning to whisper your name in the darkness, I feel something inside me begin to shift. The silence that once frightened me now feels like home, because it reminds me that you have been there all along. Yet as I open my eyes to another morning, I realize how easily I slip back into the old rhythm, rushing, checking, planning, trying to control the day before it even begins. I confess how quickly I forget what peace feels like once I start chasing my own strength. I come to you again because I do not want to treat you as my final option when everything else has failed. I want you to be the place I begin, not the place I run to when I have nowhere else left to go. Lord, I have often made you the safety net beneath my choices, but not the foundation beneath my life. I pray when I am desperate, but stay silent when things seem manageable. I run to you when storms rise, but forget to thank you when the sky clears. I treat you like an emergency line, not a constant presence. Forgive me for that. I have built routines that revolve around myself, and only after they collapse do I remember you were supposed to be at the center. This morning, I want to start differently. Before I reach for the noise, before I fill my mind with the world's demands, I choose to anchor my heart in you. God, you are not my backup plan. You are my breath. You are not the echo after everything breaks. You are the sound that begins creation itself. Remind me of that truth when my day tempts me to forget. Teach me to come first to you, not because I am afraid, but because I am loved. Let my first thought be gratitude, not worry. Let my first action be surrender, not strategy. I want to build my hours upon the stillness of your strength, not the instability of my emotions. Help me shape this day like a house upon rock, steady against wind and rain, secure because it rests on something unshackable. There is a quiet power in starting the day with you. Lord, the world teaches urgency, but you teach rhythm. The world shouts hurry, but you whisper stay. I do not need to run before I listen. I do not need to speak before I know what peace sounds like. Help me remember that refuge is not escape. It is alignment. It is not the act of hiding from life, but of finding shelter in your presence so that I can face life without fear. When I begin my morning here, I am not withdrawing from the world. I am stepping into it from a place of calm authority. You know how quickly my thoughts scatter, how temptation lures me into self-reliance. I start strong in prayer and end up chasing distractions. But I do not want to live like that anymore. I want to begin each day with my mind anchored, my heart quiet, my soul awake to your movement. Let me sense you in every detail, the rhythm of my breathing, the faint birdsong outside the window, the simple gift of light returning after night. These are not random things. They are reminders that your presence fills everything, if I only pause long enough to notice. Lord, become my first refuge, not my final hiding place. Let me run to you before fear takes shape, before worry finds its words. Let me rest in you before exhaustion sets in, before failure whispers that I am alone. Help me to turn to you at the beginning of the story, not just when I have reached the end of myself. Each morning, train my heart to recognize the difference between reacting and responding. Reacting is what I do without you, defensive, hurried, afraid. Responding is what I do with you, calm, patient, guided by peace. I know that storms will come today in many forms. Unexpected words, difficult people, unseen burdens. Yet I do not ask for a stormless day. I ask for a steady soul. I ask for an inner refuge that no chaos can invade. When voices compete for my attention, let yours be the one that cuts through clearly, reminding me that I am safe. When decisions crowd my thoughts, remind me that I do not have to rush, because time itself bows to you. When anxiety rises, teach me to pause and breathe, to remember that I am still standing within your protection. Father, I give you permission to rearrange my priorities. Shift the weight of my heart from fear to faith, from doing to being, from surviving to abiding. Let me remember that prayer is not a pause from life, but the pulse of life itself. Let me stop treating refuge as retreat. Instead, let me see it as refueling, a sacred moment to receive what I need so that I can pour love into the world again. I do not want to be a traveler who visits your presence only in crisis. I want to be one who lives there daily. Walk in every path with the awareness that you are near. Sometimes I imagine my heart as a small home built at the edge of a wild landscape. The winds howl, the world shifts, yet inside that home burns a quiet fire that never goes out. You are that fire, Lord. You are the warmth that makes courage possible. When I draw close to you, I find strength I never had, perspective I could not reach, and patience I thought was gone. You become the still point in my turning world. So this morning, before anything else takes hold, I surrender my plans to you, my meetings, my conversations, my hidden worries. I hand them over like fragile glass, trusting you to hold them without breaking them. Let your peace fill the cracks of my scattered focus. Let your voice rise above the noise of obligation. Let this simple act of coming first to you be my declaration of faith, that I belong not to chaos, but to calm, not to fear, but to love. And when the sun climbs higher and I step fully into the noise of the world, let the memory of this stillness remain beneath everything. Let my mind return to it like a heartbeat that never stops. Let me move through every task, every encounter, every challenge with the quiet certainty that I began the day where I belong under your covering, within your strength, held safely inside the refuge that is you alone. Lord, even after finding peace in the shelter of your presence, I wake this morning to realize that fear has been waiting for me before my eyes even open fully. It whispers quiet but sharp. It speaks of what might go wrong, what could break again, what I cannot control. It hides inside simple thoughts, a deadline, a conversation, a memory of failure. Fear arrives before the light touches the room, and I can feel it pressing at the edges of my heart. But I will not let it reign here. You have not given me a spirit of fear. You have given me power, love, and a sound mind, and I want to walk in that truth today. Father, you know how fear works. It wears many masks, sometimes as caution, sometimes as logic, sometimes as a false sense of responsibility. It convinces me that worry is wisdom, that anxiety is preparation, that dread is simply being realistic. Yet none of those things carry peace, and anything that steals my peace cannot come from you. Fear makes my hands tremble, and my mind race ahead into futures you have not even written yet. I have lived too many mornings this way, awake but not alive, breathing but not free. So now, in this quiet hour, I bring every anxious thought into your light before they grow roots. You see them all. The fear of failing again. The fear of not being enough for those I love. The fear that doors will close before I am ready, or that I will walk through the wrong ones. There is also that subtle fear of happiness, that if I rest too deeply in joy, something bad will happen to take it away. I lay them all before you, one by one, naming them not to give them power, but to take it away. Fear loses its grip when it is spoken honestly in your presence. And so I speak, not to the fear itself, but to you, because your voice is the only one that can silence the storm inside me. God, teach me how to respond differently today, instead of running from fear or pretending it is not there. Help me to face it with faith. When my heart begins to race, remind me to breathe and remember that you are in the room. When my mind begins to spin with what-ifs, remind me that you have already gone ahead into every tomorrow I dread. You are not limited by time or circumstance. You see the end from the beginning, and nothing surprises you. I want to rest in that. I want to live as someone who truly believes that your care is complete, that your protection is not partial, and that your presence is enough. Fear often tells me that I am alone. It paints pictures of isolation, of facing the world without help. But you have promised never to leave me. Even when I cannot feel you, you remain near. I ask that your spirit would quiet the noise in my chest and anchor me in truth stronger than emotion. I do not need to understand how everything will work out. I only need to know that you are with me in every unknown. I ask that you would shift my focus from what could go wrong to what is already right, your mercy that kept me through the night, your grace that woke me this morning, your love that remains unchanged regardless of how the day unfolds. Lord, sometimes fear hides behind control. It makes me cling tightly to schedules, plans, people, and outcomes as if my grip could save me. But I am learning that peace does not come from having control. It comes from surrendering it. So today I open my hands before you. I release the illusion that I can manage everything. I release the belief that my worth depends on how well I perform. I release the expectation that I must anticipate every challenge before it comes. I open my hands because I want them free to receive what you give instead of clutching what I fear to lose. There are moments when fear feels physical, a weight in my chest, a tension behind my eyes, a tiredness in my bones. In those moments, remind me that my body and my soul are connected, and that both belong to you. Teach me to care for myself as an act of trust, not indulgence. Let my breath become a rhythm of faith, inhaling peace, exhaling worry. Let every heartbeat echo the truth that I am still held, even when my strength feels thin. Let the ground beneath my feet remind me that you made it stable, that even unseen, you uphold it all. Father, I do not ask you to remove every fear instantly. I ask for courage to walk through them until they lose their voice. I ask for discernment to know which fears are warnings from wisdom and which are lies from the enemy. I ask for grace to keep moving forward even when my knees shake. Let me remember that courage is not the absence of fear, but the decision to move through it while holding your hand. Let faith rise in the same space where fear once ruled. I picture my fears now as shadows on a wall, large, distorted, shifting with the movement of light. They seem intimidating until I remember that shadows only exist where light is present. That means you are already here. If I step closer to you, the shadows must shrink. If I stay near the source of light, fear cannot follow. Let that image stay with me through the day. When something startles me, when uncertainty looms, let me remember that I am walking in the light of a God who never sleeps, who never loses sight of me. And if fear tries to return tonight, when the world quiets again and my mind grows loud, let me remember this morning as peace. Let me recall that every anxious hour has already been met by your compassion. You are not tired of my need. You are patient with my becoming. I choose to believe that you are bigger than the unknown, stronger than the threats, kinder than my imagination of disaster. I will not worship fear by giving it my attention. I will worship you by trusting that your presence surrounds me like the dawn, subtle at first, but steady, rising, and unstoppable. So here, before the world fully wakes, I take this vow for the day ahead. I will not let fear speak louder than faith. I will carry the awareness of your nearness like armor around my heart. I will walk not in denial of fear, but in defiance of its rule, because you are my light, my shield, my steady morning after every long night. Father, after laying my fears before you, I realize that the storm does not always rage outside. It often begins within. It moves quietly through thoughts, emotions, and memories, building until I no longer notice that I am standing in the middle of chaos. Fear may have been the thunder, but now I hear the wind of anxiety swirling through everything. And yet, in this still moment of mourning, you remind me that I do not have to be carried away by it. You have given me authority to speak peace, to stand in calm even when waves rise around my soul. You showed me that long ago, when you stood in a storm and spoke 3 words that changed everything. I can almost hear that same voice now, gentle, certain, unwavering, telling my heart, "Be still." Lord, I admit that too often I let my thoughts lead me instead of leading them. I let emotions steer my day before truth has a chance to speak. One small worry grows into a whole world of unrest. But you are teaching me that I am not helpless in the face of my own mind. I have the power, through your Spirit, to tell the wind to settle. So right here, before the sun fully climbs, I speak peace over myself, over every part of me that trembles. I declare quietness over every racing thought. I say, you do not rule me. Let your peace, not panic, decide the rhythm of my morning. God, I have learned that storms do not always come with loud warnings. Sometimes they arrive as restlessness, as tension in my chest, as the feeling that I must fix everything right now. When that happens, remind me of this truth. You are already in the boat. You have not abandoned me to weather this alone. If you are present, the storm has limits. It cannot sink what you sit within. Teach me to stop trying to control the wind, and instead to invite you to stand in it with me. Teach me to remember that your presence is stronger than any wave. When the noise inside me rises, help me pause before reacting. Instead of feeding the storm with more worry, let me feed my spirit with your words. Let me remember that my value is not measured by productivity, and my safety is not secured by overthinking. Let my first instinct be to breathe slowly and say, "Peace. Be still," not as a desperate plea, but as a declaration of faith. Let those words become the boundary where fear stops and peace begins. Father, sometimes I forget that peace is not the absence of struggle, it is the presence of stability within it. The calm you give is not fragile. It is rooted in eternity. It is not a surface feeling, but a foundation beneath the waves. When the day brings tension, noise, and confusion, let me return to that foundation again and again. Let me remember that your peace is not something I must earn. It is something I already possess because I belong to you. Let me live like someone who carries that gift. There are moments when I hear voices of self-doubt, old accusations that tell me I am too weak, too late, too flawed to live with confidence. Those voices rise like wind against my heart. But I remember what you said. My peace I give to you, not as the world gives. The world's peace depends on control, on success, on comfort. Yours depends on trust. And so, when those voices speak again, I will not argue with them. I will simply speak your truth louder. I will say, I am loved, I am chosen, I am covered. And the storm will have to quiet itself before those words. Lord, help me see peace as an active force, not a passive feeling. It is not weakness. It is authority. When I choose calm over chaos, I am not ignoring reality, I am inviting heaven into it. When I refuse to let anger rule me, I am not losing a fight. I am winning one that truly matters. Let my tone, my steps, my choices today carry the fragrance of peace. When I walk into a tense room, let the atmosphere change because I bring you with me. When someone speaks harshly, let my heart respond with grace instead of defense. When unexpected challenges appear, let me meet them not with panic but with prayer. God, I know there will still be storms. There will be words I cannot control, people I cannot please, and problems I cannot predict. But you have shown me that even when the wind does not stop immediately, I can still have peace in its midst. The storm outside does not define the condition of the sea within. Let that be my reality today. Let me wake not to survive the noise, but to command it into silence through faith. I picture my soul now like a small boat resting on gentle water. The waves that once threatened are now subdued, reflecting the light of the rising sun. The sky is still gray at the edges, but calm has returned not because the weather changed, but because you are here. I hold on to that picture as I step into my day. Whenever worry begins to ripple again, I will remember this moment. I will remember that peace is not distant. It is a person, and you live within me. Father, may my heart stay steady even when the day unfolds in ways I cannot plan. May your peace rule every conversation, every decision, every thought that tries to rush ahead. Keep teaching me to speak what you spoke, to stand tall in small moments and say, "Be still." Let me become fluent in calm, fluent in trust, fluent in silence that holds strength. And as I carry this peace into the world, let it not stay contained within me. Let it ripple outward through my words, my presence, my kindness until others, too, feel the calm that only comes when the storm meets the steady voice of the one who never leaves. Lord, as the calm from yesterday still lingers, I wake today with a quiet awareness that peace is not only something to protect, it is something that must be fought for. The storms outside have eased, but inside I feel the pull of unseen battles, subtle chains I did not notice forming. They are not loud or violent. They come disguised as habits, distractions, thoughts that feel harmless but lead me away from truth. I sense how easily I slip into cycles that drain my strength, how patterns repeat like whispers from the past, telling me this is just who I am. But you, Father, remind me that freedom is not a distant dream. It is a choice I make in your presence each morning. God, you see the invisible things that tie me down, the quiet resentment I call self-protection, the shame I carry like armor, the doubts that hide behind reason. These are my unseen prisons, and you know every lock by name. Sometimes they are built from pain I never processed, sometimes from lies I believed too long, sometimes from comfort that became captivity. You see the roots beneath my behavior, the vows I made in fear, never to trust too deeply, never to try again, never to hope beyond what feels safe. I confess these to you now, not because I want pity, but because I want release. I am tired of calling my bondage normal. Lord, you are gentle but unrelenting when you pursue freedom for your children. You do not expose my chains to shame me, but to show me that they were never part of your design. You reveal what binds me only to lead me out of it. So today, I choose honesty over denial. I ask you to open my eyes to the subtle battles shaping my days, the way comparison steals my gratitude, the way pride keeps me from asking for help, the way bitterness grows quietly in corners of my heart that no one else can see. Break the cycle before it defines me. Father, I know that not all warfare is visible. Some happens in the unseen spaces of the mind. Thoughts that seem innocent become seeds of defeat if I let them linger. Help me to recognize when I am under attack, not by people, but by the voices that echo the enemy's lies. Teach me to discern when discouragement is not just emotion, but strategy. When I hear, "You will never change," remind me that you already began the change the moment I surrendered. When I feel, "You are alone," remind me that no one who carries your spirit ever walks abandoned. When shame says, "You are defined by what you did," speak louder that I am defined by what you have done. God, I do not want to fight with fear, anger, or pride. I want to fight with faith. I want to use truth as my weapon and love as my defense. Let your word be the light that exposes lies before they take root. Let prayer be my shield, not my last attempt. Teach me that spiritual strength is not in noise or force, but in steady obedience, in returning to you even when I stumble. Let me remember that victory is not an event, but a posture standing firm when everything else tries to move me. There are battles I have ignored because I thought they were too small to matter. Yet they shape my days more than I realize. The harsh tone in my inner dialogue, the impatience that disguises itself as urgency, the exhaustion that comes from carrying burdens you never asked me to bear. I bring all of it into your light. If there are chains passed down through generations, fear, addiction, silence, unforgiveness, let them break with me. Let the pattern end here. I do not want my children or those I love to inherit the same invisible wars I refuse to face. Lord, give me courage to confront what hides in shadows. Show me how to walk in freedom, not just when I feel strong, but especially when I feel weak. I know that freedom is not the absence of struggle, but the ability to choose differently in the midst of it. Help me to replace reaction with reflection, to trade avoidance for prayer, to answer temptation with truth. When old habits whisper, just one more time, let your spirit interrupt with the memory of who I am becoming. When I feel the pull of anger, remind me that silence is stronger than shouting when you stand in it. You have called me not to survive my battles, but to overcome them. You have equipped me with weapons unseen, faith that shields, hope that lifts, truth that cuts through confusion. Teach me to use them not against people, but against the darkness that twists my perception. Let me see that every conflict is a chance to choose love over pride, peace over reaction, purpose over pain. I do not need to be fearless to be victorious. I only need to be faithful. Father, when I grow weary, remind me that your power works best in weakness. When I fall back into old patterns, remind me that grace does not grow tired of reaching for me. When I feel surrounded, remind me that I am actually encircled by your angels, by mercy, by promises that have never failed. Let me find comfort in the quiet truth that even in warfare, I am safe. The enemy may try to remind me of who I was, but you keep revealing who I am. So this morning, I stand in that truth. I am not defined by my chains, but by the one who breaks them. I am not controlled by battles, but covered by victory that was decided long before I could fight for it. Every unseen war within me meets its match in your presence. Every whispered lie meets silence when I speak your name. Let freedom rise in me today, not as a feeling, but as a fact. Not as a fleeting moment, but as a way of living. And as I step into the hours ahead, let others sense that freedom too, not because I shout it, but because peace moves where bondage once lived, and your spirit reigns where fear once ruled. Father, after the storms have passed and the chains have fallen, I sense you calling me into something deeper, a courage that does not roar, but breathes quietly through every moment of becoming. The freedom you have given me is not an ending, but a beginning. And in this beginning, there is both beauty and responsibility. The battles within have taught me that peace is not fragile. It is forged. And now, as I stand in this dawn of clarity, I realize that freedom is not only about what I have escaped, but who I am now free to become. Lord, you know how often I have measured myself by outcomes, how I have rushed from one victory to the next, forgetting that the slow, unseen work is what shapes the soul. But this morning, I feel you invite me to stay still, to notice how growth happens quietly, roots deepening beneath the surface before a tree dares to bloom again. Teach me that transformation is not a spectacle, but a steady yielding. I do not need to prove that I have changed. I need only to remain in you long enough for the change to take form. God, there is something sacred in the waiting, in the in-between seasons where nothing looks finished, but everything is being formed. In those spaces, doubt whispers that nothing is happening, yet you are crafting resilience beneath what I can see. You are teaching me to trust the invisible rhythm of grace, to believe that every slow step still matters, that every unseen obedience is noticed in heaven. The world celebrates speed, but you honor steadfastness. The world praises outcomes, but you value the journey. Let me not despise the pace of becoming. Sometimes I wake and feel the weight of expectations, both from others and from myself. The pressure to appear strong, wise, or composed can silence the gentler truth that I am still learning. You never asked me to be perfect. You asked me to be present. You never demanded I arrive quickly. You asked me to walk faithfully. Help me to find comfort in progress that cannot yet be measured. Help me to rest in knowing that I am not behind, I am simply becoming, in your time and by your design. Father, teach me to honor the process of healing without rushing it. Some wounds do not close overnight. Some fears resurface when the night feels too long. But each time I return to you, I see how even my vulnerability can be sacred ground. You do not shame the unfinished places within me. You dwell in them until they are whole. Let me learn to see my weakness not as failure, but as the doorway where grace enters. Let me be brave enough to be honest, and humble enough to begin again. There are moments when I still question whether I am enough, whether I am doing enough, whether I am living the way you intended. Yet, in those moments, you remind me that becoming is not about earning worth, but revealing what you already placed within me. Every sunrise is a quiet rehearsal of that truth. The light returns not because the night earned it, because it was always destined to yield. So I will yield too. I will let your timing unfold without anxiety. I will let your plan breathe through mine, even when I cannot see the full picture. Lord, let my courage today be calm, not loud. Let it look like consistency when I feel invisible, like gentleness when the world is harsh, like forgiveness when my pride resists. Give me the grace to keep showing up, not because I always feel strong, but because I know you meet me each time I do. Let faith become the rhythm of my days, not an occasional spark, but a steady flame. Let love be the language I speak, even when I am misunderstood. Let humility guide my choices, for I know that becoming more like you means becoming less of myself. God, remind me that becoming is not about comparison. I am not meant to mirror anyone else's story. The pace you have chosen for me is precise, and the lessons you allow are purposeful. Protect me from envy that disguises itself as motivation, from pride that masks itself as confidence. Let me celebrate others without questioning my own progress. Let my heart find contentment not in how far I have gone, but in how deeply I am rooted in you. As I look toward this day, I realize that courage does not always mean stepping into something new. It sometimes means staying when it would be easier to leave, forgiving when bitterness feels safer, believing again when disappointment has silenced hope. It means holding my peace when the world demands reaction, offering grace when I could demand justice. This quiet courage is the kind that transforms hearts, beginning with my own. Let me walk in it today. Father, if I falter, let me remember that you are patient with the process. You never rush the sunrise, yet it always arrives. You never hurry the tide, yet it always returns. You never force the seed, yet it always finds its way to light. Help me to mirror that patience in my own becoming, to trust that what you began in me will be completed, not by my striving, but by your steady hand. And as I breathe in this morning, let me carry peace like a garment, courage like quiet fire, and gratitude like air. I do not know what the day will bring, but I know who goes before me. I know that you, Lord, are the author of every unseen step, the keeper of every hidden bloom, the one who turns every small obedience into eternal fruit. Let this day become another chapter in the story. You are writing a story not of perfection, but of presence, not of noise, but of depth, not of arrival, but of faithful becoming. Father, as I continue walking this quiet path of becoming, I find myself learning a new lesson, the grace of letting go. It is not the loud kind of surrender, not the kind marked by grand declarations or visible change, but the gentle release that happens in the corners of the soul, where I used to cling too tightly. I am beginning to see that freedom sometimes means allowing what I cannot control to rest in your hands, trusting that you do not lose what belongs to you. The peace that follows is different. It does not erase the H, but it soothes it with purpose. Lord, there are so many things I have tried to hold together: dreams, people, plans, versions of myself that once made sense. Yet as the days unfold, I understand that some things are not meant to be held forever. Some must be released so that new life can take root. I used to fear that letting go meant losing everything I loved, but now I see it can also mean making room for what truly endures. The tightness in my chest eases when I remember that what comes from you cannot be taken away by circumstance. God, teach me to release without resentment, to bless what leaves instead of mourning what could have been. Let my heart no longer measure life by what remains in my grasp, but by how freely I can open my hands. I want to live without clutching, without the constant tension of trying to control outcomes or preserve moments that were never meant to stay. You are the keeper of time and purpose. You know what each season is designed to hold. Let me trust your divine rhythm, even when it feels like loss. Father, I confess that sometimes I confuse attachment with love. I cling to what is familiar because I fear emptiness. Yet every time I release something into your care, you fill that space with unexpected peace. The emptiness I dread becomes the sacred place where you dwell, where humility grows, and where I learn that nothing given to you is ever truly lost. Help me to see that letting go is not the end of love, but its purification the moment it ceases to be possession and becomes trust. There are memories I still revisit, wounds I still trace with my thoughts, hoping for a different ending. But you remind me, Lord, that healing often begins when I stop reopening what you have already begun to mend. Let me lay down my desire to rewrite the past. Let me allow forgiveness to flow where my pride once stood guard. Letting go of pain does not mean denying it. It means giving it back to you. believing you can turn even sorrow into strength. God, I think of the people who have drifted from my life, the ones I tried to hold onto through explanations, apologies, or endless effort. Some goodbyes never came with closure. Some endings felt too abrupt. Yet perhaps your mercy was in the silence, sparing me from clinging to what could not grow with me. If any bitterness remains, wash it away. Let gratitude replace regret. Let me bless those who left, for maybe they were part of my story only long enough to teach me how to love better, not longer. Father, I also need the courage to let go of the image I build of myself, the one shaped by others' expectations or my own perfectionism. I have tried to fit into roles that no longer reflect who I am becoming. But you call me not to perform holiness, but to live honestly. Let me release the need to always appear strong, wise, or certain. Let me be content with being real, with showing the cracks where your light can enter. When I stop pretending, I can finally breathe, and in that breath, I feel your freedom. Lord, show me how to hold blessings loosely. Success, recognition, comfort, these are good gifts, but they can become prisons if I fear losing them. Teach me the humility to enjoy what I have without chaining my identity to it. Let my joy remain rooted in you, not in the shifting soil of circumstance. If you ask me to walk away from what once defined me, let me go willingly, trusting that you have already gone ahead to prepare what is next. God, even in relationships that endure, let me love without possession. Love that suffocates is not love at all. Let me learn the tenderness of holding someone's heart without trying to own their path. Let me listen without control, give without keeping score, and trust without demanding guarantees. Love grows best when it breathes. If I can love others as you love me freely, patiently, without fear, then I will finally understand what it means to live unbound. Sometimes, Lord, letting go means surrendering my need to understand everything, the unanswered prayers, the delays, the detours, they all have a reason hidden in your wisdom. I have spent too much time trying to make sense of the unexplainable. But now, I simply want to rest in your knowing. If you are peace, I do not need all the answers to find calm. I only need your presence. The more I trust that you are working even in the unseen, the less I need to force clarity where mystery belongs. Father, this morning I offer you not just my plans, but my need to hold them. Take the reins of my heart where control still lingers. Teach me to find beauty in release, to see letting go not as giving up, but as growing up in faith. You prune not to punish, but to prepare me for fruit that lasts. So, if this season requires surrender, let it be holy. Let it refine me, not define me by loss. As the day unfolds, help me walk lighter. Help me breathe deeper. Help me see that what I release in faith always returns transformed. The sun does not mourn the night when it rises. It simply takes its turn shining again. Let that be my rhythm too, to trust that every ending carries the seed of something new, that every letting go is an invitation to be remade by love. And as morning stretches across the earth, I feel your quiet assurance echo within me. What is mine and you will never slip away. What is meant for me will find me when my hands are open. So I lift them now not in despair, but in trust, and let everything fall gently in your care once more. Lord, as I rise again into this new morning, I feel a quiet steadiness settling in where striving used to live. The lessons of letting go still echo in my spirit, and I sense that peace is no longer something I reach, for it now rests within me, gentle but sure. It is not the absence of storms, but the confidence that you dwell in the center of them. The world still turns with noise and urgency, yet deep beneath the surface, you have built a still strength that moves slower than fear, steadier than doubt. I no longer crave control as much as I crave communion. Father, I used to equate strength with doing, with achieving, with proving. But you have been showing me that true strength is often silent. It is not the thunder that shakes the earth, but the unseen roots that hold the tree in every season. It is the choice to trust instead of panic, to stay gentle when the world hardens, to listen when my pride wants to speak. In this stillness, I am learning that faith is not passive. It is the most courageous act of all. It resists the pull of worry and stands firm in invisible hope. God, when the noise of life tries to drag me back into hurry, remind me that your power does not need my anxiety to work. You never rush. You never fear outcomes. You are calm even in chaos, and you invite me to carry that same quiet assurance. Let me mirror your rhythm, walking with purpose but never panic. Let me breathe before I respond, pray before I plan, trust before I fear. In that pause between impulse and action, you speak, and your whisper is stronger than the world is shouting. There are days, Lord, when I still feel fragile, when the weight of responsibility feels heavier than grace. But even then, I sense your nearness in subtle ways: a soft sunrise, a moment of laughter, a breath that resets the soul. You remind me that resilience does not come from perfection, but from your presence. My strength is not the absence of weakness. It is the presence of your spirit within my weakness. When I have nothing left to give, you become the calm that carries me forward. Father, teach me to live with balance, to be bold but not harsh, humble but not small, gentle but not weak. Let my strength reflect yours, not the kind that dominates, but the kind that endures, the kind that chooses peace when conflict tempts, forgiveness when anger rises, patience when life delays. This is the kind of strength that cannot be stolen by circumstance, because it does not come circumstance, it comes from you. God, help me to value stillness as much as action. The world glorifies motion, but you glorify presence. In stillness, I see more clearly. I notice the small mercies that business once hid. I feel gratitude breathing quietly under the surface of my days. When I stop long enough to listen, I realize how often you have already answered prayers I forgot I prayed. Teach me to live from that awareness, to let peace guide my pace, to trust that doing less in my own strength makes room for more of yours. Lord, when I face uncertainty, help me to remember that faith is not about predicting outcomes. It is about remaining anchored when I cannot. You never promised I would always understand, but you promised I would never face anything alone. Let that truth be my steady ground. even when paths twist and outcomes delay. I will stand on the unshakable, knowing that you are faithful. Let me not confuse stillness with stagnation, nor waiting with wasting time. Every pause in your presence is preparation. Every quiet season is building roots I will one day need. Father, let my reactions become slower, my prayers deeper, my heart lighter. Let peace rule where panic once reigned. Let gratitude become my default posture, not because everything is perfect, but because you are present. Remind me that joy is not found at the end of struggle, it is found in the middle of surrender. The moment I stop fighting what I cannot change, I find you waiting there, holding the peace I was chasing. There will still be storms, I know that, but now I also know that peace is not a reward. At the end of chaos, it is the presence that carries me through it. Teach me to draw from that quiet well within, the one you dug in my soul when I thought I was breaking. Let me carry this strength into every conversation, every decision, every moment that tests my patience. Let others feel calm when I walk into a room, not because I am extraordinary, but because your stillness has become my atmosphere. Lord, when the world demands reaction, let me offer reflection. When anger seeks response, let me choose restraint. When anxiety grips, let me breathe and remember that I am already held. Let me speak only when words build, move only when love leads, and rest only in the assurance that nothing can shake what you have rooted in peace. The courage to stay calm is not weakness, it is faith wearing quiet confidence. Father, I thank you for this inner steadiness that no circumstance can claim. It is not made of pride or discipline alone, it is born from surrender. It is the result of every moment I stopped fighting you and started trusting you. It is the fruit of every prayer whispered in exhaustion, every tear that became a seed for patience. Now, as I step into this day, I carry the truth that strength is not what I hold, but what holds me. Let me move through this day without hurry, without fear, without noise. Let me speak softly, walk slowly, love deeply, and listen fully. Let peace be not only my refuge, but my way of living. May this still strength within me become a river that flows into every part of my life, steady and unbroken, until everything I do reflects the calm of the one who lives in me. Father, as the still strength of your peace continues to steady me, I feel you guiding me toward something even quieter, even deeper, a rhythm that cannot be hurried or forced. It is the rhythm of trust, the unseen harmony between your will and my waiting. It moves like a current beneath the surface of my days, carrying me through what I do not yet understand. Trust is not born in answers, but in surrender. And this morning, I want to dwell there with open hands, with a heart willing to believe, even when sight is not given. Lord, there was a time when trust felt like risk, when I feared what I could not predict. But you have shown me that trust is not about control, it is about alignment. It is the quiet agreement between Creator and creation, that what you begin, you will finish, and what you promise, you will fulfill in your time. I used to think I needed to see the path before I could walk, yet now I see that faith is the light that shines only for the next step. You are not asking me to know the whole journey, only to walk with you today. God, sometimes I still wake with the weight of uncertainty pressing against my chest, the future, the unanswered questions, the responsibilities that stretch beyond my strength. But then, in the silence, I remember how every breath is already a gift of trust. The sun does not question whether it will rise. The river does not doubt its flow, and the trees never wonder if the rain will return. They live within your order, and that same divine order holds me too. So I breathe deeper, slower, and let this trust sink into my bones. Father, help me to trust not only in your timing, but also in your tenderness. You do not delay because you are distant. You delay because you are designing. Every moment of waiting is a thread in a tapestry too vast for my eyes to see. If I rush ahead, I risk unraveling what you are still weaving. Teach me to rest in your craftsmanship, to know that even when I feel forgotten, I am being formed. You are not withholding what I desire. You are preparing me to hold it well. Lord, trusting you does not mean I stop feeling fear. It means I choose not to let fear have the final word. It means I stand in the tension and whisper, I believe you are still good. It means I move forward even when I tremble, because I know your hand steadies me. Trust does not erase uncertainty. It redefines it. It turns every unknown into a doorway where your faithfulness can enter again. God, I want my trust to be more than words whispered in safety. Let it be the posture of my life. Let it be evident in how I treat others with patience, with gentleness, with hope. Let it shape how I handle disappointment, not with despair, but with expectation that you are still working. Let it govern how I see time, not as an enemy to outpace, but as an instrument of grace. Every delay can be a disguised blessing when seen through your lens. Father, I often try to hold the map of my life, but you keep asking me to hold only your hand. The path may twist, the scenery may change, yet your presence remains the same. Sometimes the road ahead disappears into fog, but even then, the warmth of your nearness keeps me walking. Let me find comfort not in certainty, but in communion. If you are in the unknown, then the unknown is no longer something to fear. Lord, I am learning that trust is not passive, it is active surrender. It means showing up when I do not feel ready, forgiving when I do not feel like it, giving when it costs me comfort. It is choosing peace instead of panic, worship instead of worry, gratitude instead of grievance. It is living as though your promises are already true, because they are. Trust is not waiting for evidence. It is walking in expectation. Sometimes, God, trust feels like standing still in a storm, waiting for the wind to pass. Other times, it feels like stepping into deep water with no guarantee of how long I will float. But even then, you are the sea that holds me, the anchor beneath every wave. Every act of faith becomes a song the storm cannot silence. I may not always understand your ways, but I will keep choosing to believe that your ways are higher, not harsher, wiser, not withholding, deliberate, not delayed. Father, help me to trust you not only when things make sense, but especially when they do not. Let my confidence in you outweigh my need for clarity. Let my devotion outlast my disappointment. Even when doors close and plans crumble, remind me that closed doors can be protection, not punishment. Your silence does not mean absence. It means something sacred is unfolding in stillness. Lord, this trust you are teaching me is no longer a lesson, is becoming my language. It shapes how I wake, how I move, how I love. It teaches me to meet life with open palms and an anchored heart. It reminds me that I am not drifting aimlessly, but being carried purposefully. It tells me that every step of obedience, no matter how small, is never wasted. So today, as the morning stretches its light across the horizon, I choose once more to live within the sacred rhythm of trust. I will not chase control, nor fear uncertainty. I will walk in tempo with your timing, breathe in rhythm with your grace, and rest in the assurance that you are already where I am going. Let my heart beat in sync with yours, steady, trusting, unhurried as you continue writing the story only you can complete. Father, as the rhythm of trust settles deeper into my heart, I realize that faith is not only about believing, it is about beginning. Every sunrise is a quiet invitation to start again, not from perfection but from presence. Yesterday may have left fragments of doubt, regret, or exhaustion, but you, Lord, have filled this morning with mercy that rewrites everything. The courage to begin again does not come from my own willpower, but from the endless renewal that flows from yours. When I open my eyes today, I am reminded that grace has no expiration date. Lord, sometimes I have feared new beginnings because I associate them with loss, the closing of something familiar, the letting go of comfort. But you are showing me that beginnings are not the opposite of endings. They are their continuation in another form. Nothing truly dies in you, it is transformed. The ashes of failure become soil for new growth. The silence after disappointment becomes the canvas where you whisper fresh purpose. Even when I feel as though I have reached the end of myself, that is precisely where you begin again. God, I confess there are mornings when I wake with heaviness in my chest, when yesterday's mistakes echo louder than today's hope. Yet even in that weight, I sense your invitation. Start here. Start with me. You do not ask for polished strength. You ask for honest surrender. You do not require perfection. You require permission to move within the broken places. And somehow, when I give you those fragile pieces, you turn them into something strong enough to stand again. Father, remind me that courage does not always roar. Sometimes it is the quiet decision to try again after failure, to love again after betrayal, to believe again after disappointment. It is the moment I choose to get up even when I feel unqualified. Courage is not the absence of fear, it is the decision to move anyway, because your presence goes before me. If you can raise what was buried, surely you can breathe life into what feels lost within me. Lord, I do not want to be haunted by what could have been. Let me live in the beauty of what can still be. Teach me to see every new morning as sacred, not because it erases the past, but because it transforms how I walk into the future. Give me the humility to accept what is behind me, and the boldness to reach for what lies ahead. Let me carry lessons, not burdens. Gratitude, not guilt. The past was my teacher, but today is my chance to walk differently. God, there are places in my life that once felt barren, dreams that wilted, relationships that fractured, faith that flickered like a dying flame. Yet even in those empty places, you are planting something new. I cannot see it yet, but I trust the unseen roots. Every season that seemed wasted is now becoming part of your preparation. Nothing in your hands is ever lost. It is only waiting for resurrection. And in that truth, my courage not in certainty, but in trust that renewal is already on its way. Father, you have taught me that beginning again is not failure, is obedience. It is the decision to walk forward even when I carry scars. It is choosing to believe that purpose can survive even in the rubble. Help me to stop disqualifying myself because of what has already been broken. Your mercy has no memory of what I regret. It only remembers who I am becoming. Let me no longer measure my worth by outcomes, but by the courage to rise again with you each morning. Lord, when I doubt myself, remind me that every new start is born from divine breath. You created light from darkness, order from chaos, life from dust. So I know you can create beauty from what I call failure. Let me not despise small beginnings. Let me celebrate the unseen work, the slow growth, the quiet faithfulness that builds strength from within. You are not asking for grand gestures, only a willing heart that keeps showing up. God, if there are doors that remain closed, let me not stand knocking in despair. Instead, give me eyes to see the open path you are quietly revealing beside them. You never lead backward. Even detours hold direction when you are the guide. I want to walk with a spirit unburdened by what-ifs, attentive to where you are calling me now. Help me to recognize that sometimes starting again is not about changing my life, but about changing how I see it. Father, the world often celebrates new beginnings with noise, with declarations and resolutions. But your way is different. You begin things in stillness, in the whisper before dawn, in the first gentle breath after tears, in the small decision to believe once more. That is the kind of beginning I seek today, not loud, but lasting. Not rushed, but real. Not born from striving, but from surrender. As I step into this new day, I choose to see it not as another chance to prove myself, but as another opportunity to trust you. Every sunrise reminds me that nothing is too late, that grace is still in motion, that hope is still alive. Even when I cannot see the full horizon, I will keep walking toward it because you are there, waiting in the light. And so, Lord, let this morning be more than routine. Let it be a quiet resurrection, a rising of courage, of faith, of willingness. Let me meet this day with open hands and a heart that no longer fears beginnings. Because every time I begin again with you, I am not starting from nothing, I am starting from grace. Lord, as I rise into the stillness of this morning, the courage to begin again begins to glow within me like an ember you have carefully preserved through the night. It is not the wild fire of ambition, but the steady flame of renewal, the kind that burns away the remnants of fear and gives warmth to what has grown cold. I feel it flicker gently beneath my ribs. This holy energy that calls me to live not just by existence, but by intention. Yesterday has passed into grace, and now the dawn carries your quiet whisper. Live again. Burn brighter, but stay rooted in peace. Father, you have taught me that renewal is not merely starting over, it is being remade. The world often tells me to reinvent myself by effort, by image, by achievement. But your renewal begins within the invisible places of the heart. It is the transformation of spirit, not the decoration of surface. It is the soft rebuilding that happens when I bring you my ashes, and you breathe over them until they glow with purpose again. You do not discard what is broken. You sanctify it through fire. You refine, not destroy. God, there were seasons when I felt extinguished, when life's storms soaked every spark of faith, when weariness replaced wonder. But even then, your presence never left. Beneath the ashes of fatigue, you hid a small flame, your promise that life can rise again from what seemed finished. I am learning that renewal often begins in stillness, not in striving. It begins when I stop trying to ignite myself and allow you to be the source of warmth. Lord, I no longer fear the fire. For too long, I resisted the seasons that burned away what no longer belonged, mistaking your refining for punishment. But now I see it differently. The fire is not my enemy, it is the evidence of your care. You burn away illusions so that truth can breathe. You consume pride so that love can remain. You melt away old hardness so that compassion can flow freely again. Everything that survives your fire carries eternal value. Father, as you renew my heart, let me also renew my vision. Help me to see my life through the lens of hope, not regret. Let me recognize the subtle resurrections happening each day, the moment I forgive a wound that used to define me, the breath I take after letting go of what I could not change, the joy that flickers in ordinary moments once drowned by worry. Renewal is not dramatic. It is consistent grace unfolding quietly in the corners of the soul. God, I thank you for teaching me that the path of faith is cyclical, not linear. It is not a straight climb upward, but a continual rhythm of breaking and rebuilding, of dying to fear and being reborn in trust. Every ending is followed by a new becoming. Every silence conceals a future song. And through it all, you remain the constant fire that never consumes me, only transforms me. Lord, there are still parts of me that resist renewal, clinging to old identities, familiar habits, and comfortable fears. But I bring them to you now. Melt away what keeps me from growth. Burn the hesitation that whispers not yet. Replace my fear of change with reverence for evolution. You are the creator who never stops creating, even within me. I am not a finished work. I am an ongoing miracle of your making. Father, let my renewal not be selfish. Let it extend outward. If you set my heart aflame, let it warm others who have grown cold. If you restore my joy, let it overflow into compassion. If you renew my courage, let it strengthen those who are losing theirs. Renewal is never for isolation, it is the ripple of grace, the passing of light from one soul to another. Make me a vessel of that warmth today, carrying your gentle fire wherever I go. God, I do not ask for a life free of the refining flame. I ask for the humility to welcome it. I know that real transformation rarely comes wrapped in comfort. Sometimes it arrives disguised as loss, as waiting, as the stretching of faith. But even when the fire feels fierce, I will remember that you stand beside me in it. You do not watch from afar. You walk within the heat, and when the flames die down, what remains is pure your likeness, reflected in the resilience of my spirit. Lord, as the light of dawn grows stronger, I feel the renewal you have promised taking root in me. My heart no longer trembles at what must change. Instead, it rejoices that I am not abandoned in the process. I may not see the full picture yet, but I trust that every spark, every trial, every moment of surrender is shaping me into someone more patient, more peaceful, more aligned with you. Father, thank you for the mercy that meets me fresh each morning, the mercy that does not ask who I was yesterday, but invites me to become who I am meant to be today. Let that truth guide my every breath. Let renewal not be something I seek once, but something I live daily, moment by moment, breath by breath. And so, as this morning unfolds, I carry within me the sacred fire you have kindled. It is quiet but unwavering. It is tender but unbreakable. It reminds me that even when everything else fades, you remain ever renewing, ever creating, ever turning ashes into light. Father, as the fire of renewal softens into warmth within me, I feel the ground of my heart begin to open, ready for new growth. The soil that once seemed barren now breathes with quiet potential. I sense that this is where you invite me next to cultivate gratitude, to plant seeds of thankfulness in every space that pain or worry once claimed. Gratitude, I am learning, is not a reaction to blessings, but the recognition that even in waiting, even in struggle, you are still good. Lord, gratitude changes how I see everything. It does not deny sorrow or erase difficulty, but it teaches me to look through them rather than around them. It reminds me that grace often wears ordinary clothes, a sunrise that warms my skin, a conversation that mends what words once broke, the laughter that returns after silence. I used to think joy was something I had to chase, but now I know it has been quietly walking beside me all along, waiting for me to notice. God, teach me to wake each morning not with a list of needs, but with an awareness of gifts. The very breath I draw is a mercy. The beating of my heart is evidence that you are not finished with me yet. Every challenge that stretched me, every delay that humbled me, every loss that redirected me, they all carry hidden treasures when I view them through the lens of gratitude. Let me stop asking why this and start whispering thank you. Even here. Father, gratitude is not natural to the anxious heart. It must be practiced like prayer, watered like faith. Some days it feels small, fragile, an act of choice rather than feeling. But the more I practice it, the more it grows, and soon it becomes my instinct rather than my discipline. Gratitude trains my eyes to find beauty in places the world overlooks. It turns interruptions into invitations and inconveniences into reminders that I am still being shaped by your love. Lord, when life feels incomplete, gratitude reminds me that nothing is wasted. The moments I once dismissed as empty were actually filled with quiet preparation. The unanswered prayers were not silence but shelter. The closed doors kept me safe from what I was not ready for. When I look back through grateful eyes, I see not a story of failure, but of faithfulness, your faithfulness. Steady as the sunrise, patient as the tide. God, I want to be someone who gives thanks not only for miracles, but for the mundane. Let me find holiness in the hum of the ordinary, in dishes washed after shared meals, in the sound of rain against the window, in the familiar scent of morning air. Gratitude transforms routine into worship. It teaches me that sacredness is not confined to grand moments. It lives in the simplicity of being fully present to what is. Father, I confess there were times when I envied others' blessings, forgetting that comparison is the thief of joy. But you remind me that gratitude turns envy into celebration. What is meant for others is not meant to diminish me. There is enough of your goodness for everyone. When I learn to rejoice in another's gain, I break the chains of scarcity and live in abundance. Gratitude restores my heart to generosity. It multiplies joy simply by sharing it. Lord, gratitude is also the medicine for my memory. It heals the way I look at my past. Where I once saw only regret, I now see redemption. You were there in the detours, in the disappointments, in the moments I thought you were far away. Gratitude transforms those shadows into reminders of your presence. It rewrites pain into purpose and turns confusion into clarity. One thankful breath at a time. God, help me to carry gratitude into my relationships. Let me speak words that uplift rather than complain. Let me notice the quiet sacrifices others make, the kindness that often goes unspoken. A grateful heart listens more, forgives faster, and loves deeper. When I thank you for the people in my life, I begin to treat them as the gifts they truly are, temporary treasures entrusted to my care. Father, let gratitude also guide how I face tomorrow. I do not know what lies ahead, but I do know that the same grace that carried me here will meet me there. Gratitude gives me courage because it reminds me of every mountain already moved, every storm already calmed. When I remember your past faithfulness, fear loses its grip on the future. Lord, this morning I offer you my thankfulness not as payment, but as praise. It is the song that rises from a heart that finally sees the abundance in every breath. Gratitude is the rhythm of peace that pulses quietly through my spirit, the language that bridges heaven and earth. It is not the end of prayer, but the beginning of true worship. As light fills the sky, I feel the gentle bloom of joy taking root again. Every petal, every leaf, every whisper of wind reminds me that all creation exists in gratitude to you. So I will join that song today, not because everything is perfect, but because you are present. And in your presence, everything becomes a gift. Lord, as gratitude deepens within me, it begins to flow outward like sunlight breaking through clouds. The heart that once clung to fear now expands, reaching toward others not with judgment, but with tenderness, compassion. I realize Is gratitude in motion? It is love that refuses to stay confined within the walls of the self. It is the natural response of a soul that has been forgiven much, healed much, and loved without condition. When I look at the world through compassion, everything becomes softer, yet stronger, fragile, yet holy. Father, you are teaching me that compassion does not come from comfort, but from understanding. It is born in the moments when I have known pain myself, when I have been misunderstood, when I have felt unseen, when I have stood in the cold waiting for warmth. It is there, in the ache of my own need, that I begin to recognize the same longing in others. Compassion is the bridge between wounds. It turns suffering into sacred empathy and transforms my own scars into places where your mercy can pass through. God, help me to see people not through the lens of their behavior, but through the eyes of their brokenness. Every harsh word often hides fear. Every act of anger usually masks a deeper grief. No one arrives in darkness without first losing their way. Let me remember that the ones hardest to love are often the ones who need love the most. Let me be slow to condemn, quick to understand, and even quicker to forgive. You never asked me to fix others, only to love them as you have loved me. Lord, compassion is not weakness. It is courage wrapped in kindness. It requires strength to remain gentle in a world that rewards hardness. It takes bravery to respond to cruelty with grace, to meet offense with patience, to listen when silence would be easier. Let me live that strength today. Let me reflect your heart in my tone, my choices, my pauses. Let every word I speak be seasoned with mercy, for I never know what silent battles another soul may be fighting. Father, the more I learn of compassion, the more I see that it begins not with others, but within. I cannot pour kindness from an empty vessel. Help me to treat myself with the same grace I so easily offer to strangers. Teach me to forgive my own mistakes, to speak gently to the parts of me still healing. Self-compassion is not selfish, it is the soil from which true empathy grows. When I learn to be merciful with my own humanity, I no longer demand perfection from others. I simply invite them to walk alongside me in grace. God, I want my compassion to be active, not just emotional. Let it reach beyond feeling into action. Let it move my hands as well as my heart. Whether it is through a simple word, a quiet prayer, or a moment of presence, use me to bring light into weary places. Let me not overlook the small opportunities to serve, the door held open, the call returned, the kindness unspoken but felt. These simple gestures become holy when offered in love. Compassion does not need an audience. It only needs intention. Lord, when I encounter those who differ from me in belief, in story, in struggle, let compassion guide my response. Let understanding be stronger than opinion. Let humility replace pride. I do not want to be right more than I want to be kind. You have not called me to win arguments, but to win hearts, not by persuasion, but by patience. Compassion is not about being seen as good. It is about seeing good even where others cannot. Father, remind me that compassion is not selective. It does not stop at the boundaries of convenience or comfort. It reaches beyond friendship into forgiveness, beyond agreement into acceptance. It finds the face of humanity in every stranger and the reflection of divinity in every soul. Teach me to love without categories, to serve without seeking credit, to listen without interrupting the sacred silence that often speaks louder than words. God, sometimes compassion will cost me my pride, my convenience, my comfort. It may mean walking into places of pain where others have turned away. It may mean choosing peace when vengeance feels justified. It may mean giving when I feel emptied. But you remind me that love given freely is never wasted. Compassion does not measure return. It trusts that the ripple of kindness always finds its way back to the shore of eternity. Lord, let compassion be my constant prayer today. When I see a weary face, let my eyes soften. When I hear a harsh word, let my heart stay calm. When I encounter indifference, let me still care. Compassion does not need grand gestures, it only needs presence. To stand beside another soul, even in silence, can sometimes speak more healing than 1,000 perfect sentences. Father, let compassion flow through me the way light passes through glass unhindered, undiminished, yet shaped by the vessel it touches. Let my life be that vessel. Let me shine warmth, not glare. Let me carry gentleness that lingers even after I leave. You have shown me that compassion is not something I must earn or manufacture. It is what naturally overflows when I remember how deeply I am loved. As the morning unfolds, I feel your spirit urging me to walk slowly, to notice deeply, to love quietly. The world does not need louder voices. It needs softer hearts. And so, I ask you to make mine one of them, a heart that feels, a heart that listens, a heart that loves without measure. For in compassion, I have found the truest reflection of you. Father, as compassion flows through me and gratitude fills the corners of my heart, I sense you calling me to another layer of growth, the quiet discipline of patience. It is a form of courage that moves slowly, refusing to be hurried by my own desires or the demands of the world. In the space between expectation and fulfillment, patience becomes a sacred posture, one that trusts your timing and your wisdom, even when I do not understand the unfolding of events. I realize that rushing often steals what you intend to give fully, and slowing down is not weakness but obedience. Lord, I confess how often I have tried to force outcomes, to push circumstances into alignment with my plans, to expedite blessings that must mature in their own season. Have chased timelines that were never mine to control and grown anxious when life seemed delayed. Yet you remind me that the fruit that ripens too fast is seldom nourishing. Teach me to wait without frustration, to remain steady even when the world moves ahead of me. Let patience take root in my spirit so that I may bear fruit that lasts, rather than hasty results that fade. God, patience does not mean inaction. It means presence. It means being fully awake in the moments I might otherwise skip through. Observing, listening, and trusting. Every pause is an opportunity to deepen faith. Every delay a chance to practice reliance on you. Let me stop demanding speed and start valuing growth, understanding that your hands are shaping me even when my eyes see only a partial picture. Patience is not passive resignation, it is active trust in your sovereignty. Father, I bring before you all the areas of my life where I feel restless, relationships that take longer to heal than I hoped, goals that unfold slower than I expected, and dreams that seem distant even though they are rooted in your promises. Help me to remember that timing belongs to you, not me. Every waiting period has purpose. Every season of stillness prepares my heart for what is to come. Let me walk through these days with steadiness, knowing that your plans are unfolding perfectly, even when I cannot yet perceive them. Lord, patience also teaches humility. It reveals that I am not the master of my days, that control is often an illusion, and that my attempts to dominate outcomes are futile. Yet in this surrender, I find freedom. When I release the need to rush, I open space for your guidance. When I let go of my insistence on timing, I become available to the ways you are already working. Teach me to embrace this humility, not as defeat, but as the gateway to wisdom and grace. God, I realize that impatience often comes from a desire for immediate comfort or recognition. But you are teaching me that the most valuable growth comes slowly, through challenge, perseverance, and repeated reliance on your strength. Let me learn to be satisfied with small steps, to celebrate incremental progress, and to trust that what is consistent in faithfulness is more enduring than what is flashy or fast. Let my eyes see the beauty of the unfolding process, not just the end result. Father, help me extend patience to others as well, just as I wait for your perfect timing in my own life. Let me respect the seasons of those around me. When others move slower than I hope, let me not grow frustrated. When their responses are delayed, let me not lose temper. Let me be gentle with their pace, understanding that your grace works differently in every life. Patience is a language of love, teaching me to mirror the patience you show me daily. Lord, remind me that patience is sustained by hope. It is not idle waiting. It is active expectation, even when nothing seems to change. Hope keeps the heart anchored. My hope remain grounded in your faithfulness, not in human timing. Each breath becomes a declaration. I trust you. I wait on you. And I believe that your promises are true. With hope, even silence becomes a sanctuary, and delay becomes preparation. God, patience is also a teacher of resilience. The longer I wait, the deeper my endurance grows. Trials become training grounds. Moments of waiting become exercises in trust, and each act of faithful persistence strengthens my capacity to embrace future challenges with grace. Let me not despair in stillness, but see it as your way of fortifying me. Let me meet every pause with openness and every season of waiting with expectancy. Father, help me remember that patience is never wasted. Every quiet hour, every unhurried choice, every act of calm in the face of tension becomes a seed planted in eternal soil. Let these seeds grow into virtues that reflect your character's steadfastness, gentleness, and unwavering faith. Let me honor the process, knowing that your timing is always perfect, even when it contradicts my urgency. Lord, as I move through the hours ahead, let patience guide my decisions, my words, and my actions. When stress rises, let me inhale your calm and exhale tension. When expectations mount, let me measure success by obedience, not by speed. when my heart longs for immediate resolution. Let me rest in your timing and trust that you are already at work. Let this patience shape my character, deepen my faith, and extend your love in every interaction. God, may patience become my compass in every uncertainty, my anchor in every trial, and my witness to your enduring faithfulness. Let it temper my reactions, steady my steps, and align my heart with your will. And as this day unfolds, let the rhythm of patient trust pulse through me, quietly but powerfully, reflecting your character to all I encounter, and reminding me that waiting in your presence is not wasted, it is sanctified, fruitful, and filled with your eternal promise. Father, as the rhythm of patience settles into the quiet of my heart, I feel your gentle call to step outward, not for recognition, not for reward, but for the sacred act of service. Humble service, I realize, is the natural extension of the work you have done within me. After learning to trust, to be patient, to walk in compassion, it is time to turn my hands and heart toward others. True strength, Lord, is measured not by what I accomplish for myself, but by how I lift those who cannot lift themselves. God, I confess that I have often sought significance through visibility, accolades, or personal gain. I have sometimes mistaken achievement for impact, noise for purpose. But you remind me that the quiet acts of service, performed without expectation, carry more weight than the loudest gestures. The hands that comfort, the words that encourage, the presence that simply listens, these are the ways your love moves through me into the world. Let me not measure service by its recognition, but by the intent and heart behind it. Lord, I want to serve without condition, without tallying what is given in return. Teach me to offer my time, my energy, my attention freely, reflecting the same grace you have poured into my life. Let me see needs not as burdens, but as invitations to participate in your work. Let every opportunity to serve, no matter how small, become an altar where love is offered and faith is expressed. The world may overlook what is quiet, but you never do. Father, help me to approach service with humility. Let me remember that it is not my skill, strength, or wisdom that makes a difference, but the willingness to follow your guidance. Let pride step aside so that empathy and discernment may take its place. I do not want to serve for praise or recognition. I want to serve because you have first served me. Let my actions reflect the mercy, patience, and grace you extend to me daily. God, in this calling to serve, I also acknowledge my limitations. I cannot meet every need, cannot heal every wound. I cannot solve every problem. But you remind me that faithful service in one small area carries eternal significance. Let me focus not on what I cannot do, but on what you have placed before me today. If I walk with you, every small act can become transformative, every gesture infused with purpose beyond my understanding. Lord, let service flow from a heart that is already full of you. Let me approach others not from obligation, but from overflowing gratitude. When I give, let it be with joy, not resentment, with clarity, not confusion, with presence, not distraction. Let me listen as much as I act, for sometimes the simplest act of attentiveness is the most profound form of service. Teach me to be patient with the pace of others, generous with their burdens, and gentle with their flaws. Father, help me to serve even when it costs me comfort or convenience. Teach me to stand in the gap when injustice appears, to offer encouragement when hope seems faint, to give my time when I would rather hold it for myself. Let my actions be guided not by efficiency alone, but by the awareness that your Spirit moves through them. Even small gestures, done in alignment with your heart, ripple far beyond what I can see. God, I want to cultivate a life in which service is a habit of the soul, not something I do for recognition, but something that defines my character. Let this morning be a reminder that the day's actions can reflect eternity. Each decision to help, each moment to listen, each act of compassion becomes an offering to you. Let me remain mindful that the impact of services is not always immediate or visible, but it is never insignificant. Lord, help me to see the dignity in every person I encounter. Let my service honor them, not simply meet a need. Help me to approach the suffering, the weary, the overlooked, and the discouraged with reverence, remembering that each soul carries value beyond what the world measures. Let kindness, empathy, and humility guide my actions so that your love is seen clearly through me. Father, even when I am tired or distracted, let me return to service with renewed commitment. Let my willingness to give reflect the endless generosity you have shown me. Teach me to hold hands without hesitation, speak words of encouragement without agenda, and offer presence without conditions. Let these acts become a reflection of your kingdom here on earth, a tangible reminder that love is lived rather than merely spoken. God, as I carry this calling into the hours ahead, let service be the rhythm of my interactions. Let it shape my words, my gestures, and my decisions. May every action, small or great, become an expression of faith, hope, and love. And as I serve, let me remember that the strength for service does not come from myself alone, but from you, Father, who empowers, guides, and sustains me in every act of humble obedience. Lord, make my life a quiet testament to your love. Let every choice to serve, every effort to lift, every moment of patience and compassion be a living prayer. Let me walk this day carrying your light into the world, transforming ordinary moments into sacred opportunities to reflect your heart. And as I move forward, let the courage to serve remain unwavering, the humility to follow remain steadfast, and the love that compels me continue to flow freely, touching lives in ways I may never fully see, but you, God, will. Father, as I continue walking in the path of humble service, I feel you inviting me into a deeper understanding of forgiveness. Forgiveness is not simply a word I speak. It is a state of heart, a surrender of judgment, a release of what binds both me and others. The world often views forgiveness as a concession, a compromise, or a sign of weakness, yet you teach me that it is the truest strength, the act that frees the soul and restores peace. where pain once ruled. This morning, I want to practice the depth of forgiveness, beginning not only with others, but with myself. Lord, I confess the moments when I have clung to resentment, when I have nurtured grievances like hidden wounds that only festered in my heart. I remember the faces and voices that hurt me, the times I felt betrayed or overlooked, and the ways I let anger take root. Yet you call me to let go, not because their actions were insignificant, but because my heart is too precious to be held captive by bitterness. Teach me to forgive, Lord, not as a duty, but as an expression of the freedom you have already poured into my life. God, forgiveness is not easy, for it often demands the relinquishing of pride, the surrender of perceived justice, and the acceptance of mystery. I have feared that forgiving would erase truth or diminish my worth, but you show me that it actually restores perspective and aligns my heart with your will. When I forgive, I am not excusing harm, but refusing to let it shape the rest of my life. Forgiveness becomes a shield for my soul, a gift I give myself as much as the one I offer to another. Father, help me to forgive without conditions. Let my forgiveness not be contingent upon apology, change, or acknowledgement. You forgive me not because I am deserving, but because your love surpasses all measure. Let me extend the same grace, freely and generously, even when it seems impossible. If a heart can be broken without closure, let it also be healed by mercy. If trust has been wounded, let it be restored in spirit before time restores it in circumstance. Teach me that the act of forgiveness can bring wholeness, even when the story is incomplete. Lord, remind me that forgiveness is an ongoing journey, not a single act. There are moments when old hurts resurface, when memories awaken pain, and when anger tries to reclaim space in my heart. In these times, let me return to you for strength. Let me see that forgiveness is a practice of daily choice, a discipline that grows stronger each time I release the weight of resentment. Let it become instinctive, a rhythm of the heart, so that I live in freedom rather than captivity. God, help me to forgive myself as well as others. I carry regrets, shame, and failures that weigh heavily, sometimes longer than the wrongs done to me by others. Teach me to release self-condemnation, to accept your mercy, and to see myself through your eyes of grace. Only then can my heart truly extend the same compassion outward. Forgiveness is not complete if it stops at my hands. It must flow through me, touching every corner of my life. Father, show me how forgiveness transforms perspective. When I choose to forgive, let me see the humanity behind the actions that hurt me. Let me recognize that those who cause pain are also in need of mercy, often acting from their own wounds and fears. Forgiveness does not minimize wrong. It reveals the light that even shadows cannot erase. It allows me to love without fear and to engage without bitterness. Lord, let forgiveness shape my speech and my actions. Let me speak without venom, act without hidden retaliation, and move through my day without carrying grudges like stones in my pocket. Even when others forget or fail to acknowledge the hurt, let my own heart remain untangled and free. Let every word I utter, every decision I make, be filtered through the lens of mercy. God, teach me the subtle power of silent forgiveness, Sometimes it is unspoken, invisible, yet it changes everything. It softens my thoughts, opens my perspective, and allows your spirit to move where pride or anger once reigned. Let me be willing to forgive quietly, to release without announcing, and to bless without expectation of recognition. In the quiet, your grace works most profoundly. Father, I ask that the practice of forgiveness extend to those have avoided forgiving those whose actions still echo in my memory, whose words once cut deeply, and whose presence may still provoke unrest. Let me release all desire for vengeance, all need for explanation, all longing for retribution. Let me step fully into the freedom you offer, knowing that forgiveness is an act of obedience and a declaration of trust in your justice. Lord, as this morning unfolds, let my heart be a garden where forgiveness grows. Let it bloom in relationships, in daily encounters, and in the quiet corners of memory. Let it water the seeds of peace, compassion, and understanding, so that the life I live is marked by release, not grasping, by restoration, not retaliation. Let every choice to forgive reflect your presence within me, and allow your love to shine into the world through my actions. God, remind me that forgiveness is the bridge between hurt and healing, between fear and freedom, between isolation and connection. Let me walk that bridge today, not hesitantly, but with deliberate trust in you. Let every step be guided by your wisdom, every pause filled with your strength, and every heart I touch reflect your grace. And as I carry this act of forgiveness into the hours ahead, let it transform not only my own life, but the lives of all I meet, revealing your love in ways that words cannot capture, but that hearts can feel. Father, as forgiveness settles like a gentle stream through my heart, I feel you inviting me into a deeper embrace of hope, not the fleeting hope that clings to circumstances or outcomes, but the enduring, quiet hope that rests in you, steadfast and unwavering. It is the kind of hope that does not demand immediate evidence, that remains alive even when the world grows dim or the path ahead is unclear. Today, I want to cultivate that hope, letting it rise naturally from the work you have already done in me and through me. Lord, hope is not always loud or dramatic. It does not always announce itself with fireworks or proclamations. Often, it is a soft whisper in the stillness, a steady rhythm beneath the heart's racing thoughts, a quiet assurance that you are present and faithful. I recognize that the strength of hope is not found in my ability to see the way forward, but in trusting that you have already prepared it. When fear tries to take the lead, remind me that hope speaks with patience, persistence, and peace. God, I confess how easily I have allowed despair to overshadow hope in the past. I have looked at unmet expectations, broken dreams, and challenges beyond my control, and let them cloud the vision you offer. Yet you remind me that hope does not deny difficulty. It simply acknowledges that you are greater than every obstacle. It rests not in the temporary, but in the eternal. Even when the storms rage, hope keeps my soul anchored in your promises, unshaken and resilient. Father, Teach me to live in the tension between what is and what you are yet to do. Let hope guide my steps even when outcomes remain unseen. Let it lift my gaze above temporary troubles to the larger picture only you fully understand. When impatience or discouragement whispers that nothing will change, let hope remind me that your timing is perfect, that every delay has purpose. Help me to see that waiting with hope is itself an act of faith, a declaration that I trust you to fulfill what is good and true. Lord, hope also brings vision. It allows me to see beyond immediate circumstances to the possibilities you are planting in my life. It inspires courage to take steps that fear would otherwise block, to speak words of encouragement when silence feels easier, and to act with generosity when selfishness tempts. Hope transforms perception, allowing me to witness your work in subtle, unfolding ways rather than demanding instant results. It opens my eyes to the unseen threads of grace that weave together moments, people, and experiences into your design. God, hope is intimately tied to trust. I cannot hope fully for what I do not believe will come, and I cannot believe fully for what I do not entrust to you. Strengthen my trust so that my hope grows robust and unwavering. When I falter, let hope remind me of your faithfulness in the past, your constancy in the present, and your provision in the future. Help me to remember that you are the source of every good thing, and that hope rooted in you is never misplaced. Father, teach me to carry hope as a light into the lives of others. Let it not be hoarded or hidden, but shared freely through encouragement, compassion, and presence. When I encounter those who are weary, anxious, or burdened, let the hope within me serve as a reflection of your own. Let my words and actions offer a glimpse of the security, peace, and joy that only you provide. Let hope ripple outward, touching hearts and transforming days in ways I may never fully see. Lord, even when my circumstances appear stagnant or my prayers seem unanswered, let hope endure. Do not allow my eyes to fixate solely on the immediate, or my heart to despair at delays. Instead, let me lift my gaze to the broader canvas of your wisdom and providence. Remind me that you are already at work in ways I cannot perceive, and that every step of obedience, however small, is a part of the greater plan that brings life, restoration, and blessing. God, hope carries me forward not by erasing fear, but by placing fear in its proper context. Fear measures risk. Hope measures possibility. Fear focuses on what might fail. Hope trusts in what you can accomplish. Teach me to recognize when fear tempts me to retreat, and to replace it with the courage that arises from hope. Let my heart respond with trust, my mind with clarity, and my actions with boldness grounded in your presence. Father, let the hope you plant within me today strengthen my patience, deepen my gratitude, and expand my compassion. Let it infuse every thought, every decision, and every interaction with a sense of possibility that reflects your love and purpose. When I encounter uncertainty, disappointment, or loss, let hope rise to steady my spirit, illuminating the path you have set before me. Let it anchor me in your promises and guide me in your ways. Lord, I ask that hope become more than a feeling. Let it be a posture, a daily choice, and a guiding principle. Let it shape how I perceive challenges, how I respond to difficulty, and how I envision the future. May the hope within me be steadfast, persistent, and alive, a reflection of your eternal presence, unshakable and unwavering. And as I carry this hope into the hours ahead, let it touch every life I encounter, offering a glimpse of your faithfulness, your mercy, and your love in every moment. Father, as hope settles within me and radiates quietly through my heart, I feel your invitation to rest in the shelter of peace. This peace, Lord, is not fleeting or conditional. It does not depend on circumstances, the behavior of others, or the unfolding of events. It is a steadfast refuge, a sanctuary where my spirit can dwell safely even amid the storms of life. After walking through patience, service, forgiveness, and hope, I now recognize that peace is both a gift and a choice, a gift you offer freely, and a choice I make each moment to embrace your presence rather than cling to anxiety. Lord, I confess how often I have allowed my mind to be a battleground, filled with worry, anticipation, and unrest. Even when external circumstances were calm, my thoughts would twist and turn, creating storms that did not exist. You have been teaching me that true peace does not begin in external tranquility, but in the surrender of my inner tension. It is the quiet assurance that you are present, that you are good, and that you are sovereign. It is the anchor for my soul, unmovable by fleeting circumstances or temporary trials. God, I am learning that peace is not passive. It does not mean avoidance of life's challenges, nor is it silence in the face of injustice or difficulty. True peace is active. It rests in trust, acts in love, and responds with wisdom. It is steady in uncertainty, calm in fear, and strong in the presence of opposition. When I carry this peace within me, it becomes a light in the darkness, a balm to the weary, and a reflection of your character. Teach me to cultivate this peace so that it flows naturally into every thought, word, and action. Father, remind me that the shelter of peace is not built by my own strength. It is constructed through faith, rooted in your promises, and sustained by your Spirit. When anxiety rises, let me breathe deeply and remember that your presence is more powerful than my fears. When doubt whispers that control is lost, let me remember that you hold every detail in your hands. Let the awareness of your sovereignty replace the frantic need to manipulate outcomes. And let my heart find rest even when life remains unpredictable. Lord, peace is not only for me but also for others through me. As I dwell in your shelter, let it overflow into the lives around me. Let my words speak calm, my demeanor convey assurance, and my actions reflect patience and gentleness. In moments of conflict, may your peace guide my responses. In times of tension, may your tranquility temper my reactions. Let the serenity I carry become a conduit of your love, offering refuge to those who feel unsettled, anxious, or alone. God, teach me to remain in this peace even when I am challenged. Let me not allow external chaos to disrupt the inner calm you have planted. Let me remember that stillness in your presence is stronger than the noise of the world, and that true refuge comes not from avoiding trials, but from trusting that you are the shelter within them. Teach me to pause, to breathe, and to let your Spirit remind me that you are working all things together for good, even when I cannot see the entire path. Father, I also ask that this peace shape my perception of time and circumstance. Let me no longer measure the value of a day by what I accomplish or by the absence of difficulty. Instead, let me measure it by the presence of your Spirit, by the moments I dwell consciously with you, and by the ways I reflect your love to those around me. Even in waiting, delay, or uncertainty, let your peace reassure me that everything is unfolding according to your perfect design. Lord, let me recognize the simplicity of your gift. Peace is not earned by achievement, earned by perfection, or dependent upon the responses of others. It is a gift freely given, waiting only for me to open my heart and dwell in it. Teach me to rest fully in your provision, to let go of striving for control, and to embrace the quiet security that your Spirit provides. Let this awareness fill me with gratitude and humility, reminding me that I am sustained not by my effort, but by your love. God, help me to remain in your peace even as I face the complexities of life. When pressures mount, let your tranquility temper my spirit. When relationships strain, let your calm guide my words. When uncertainty looms, let your presence steady my steps. May my heart become a sanctuary where peace resides, unshaken by circumstance, unaltered by the opinions or actions of others. Let me radiate this peace naturally, as a reflection of your eternal presence in my life. Father, let this shelter of peace influence my prayer, my reflection, and my actions. Let it become a habit of the heart, a rhythm that persists beyond the morning and extends into the day's challenges. Let me return to this refuge repeatedly, recognizing that your presence is constant, reliable, and unfailing. Even when the world moves unpredictably, I can remain grounded, secure, and steadfast, for you are my refuge and strength. Lord, I pray that the peace I carry today will not be limited to personal comfort, but will extend outward. May it touch those who are anxious, burdened, or weary. May it calm tension in my interactions and inspire hope in those who feel lost. Let your tranquility flow through me, offering rest where it is needed, a listening ear where voices are loud, and a softening presence where hearts are hardened. Father, teach me that dwelling in your shelter does not isolate me from the realities of life, but prepares me to meet them with clarity, compassion, and courage. Let the inner peace you provide sharpen my perception, deepen my empathy, and strengthen my resolve. Let it guide me in decisions, shape my character, and remind me that every step taken from this place of calm is aligned with your purpose. God, as I move through the hours ahead, let me carry this peace with intentionality, not as a fragile possession, but as a steadfast companion. Let it protect my heart, steady my mind, and govern my spirit. Let it remind me that even in chaos, even in the unknown, even in trials, your presence is my sanctuary, And as I dwell within this shelter of peace, let it continue to expand outward, touching every part of my life, every person I meet, and every circumstance I encounter, reflecting your eternal love and faithful care. Father, as I dwell within the shelter of your peace, I feel your Spirit gently drawing me into a deeper rhythm of renewal that flows through every corner of my life. This renewal is not loud or hurried. It moves quietly, like the first breath of morning air stirring leaves in the stillness before the sun rises fully. I sense that each inhale and exhale carries your life, giving power, restoring strength where I feel weary, and inspiring courage where doubt lingers. Today, I want to breathe fully in this sacred rhythm, allowing each breath to remind me of your constant presence and unfailing care. Lord, I confess the times I have neglected the simple power of breathing in your life and letting it flow through me. I have carried tension as though it were necessary, and I have clung to worry as though it protected me. Yet you teach me that renewal often begins in the quietest moments, in the slow inhalation of your Spirit, and the deliberate exhalation of all that does not belong. Let my body, mind, and heart be fully engaged in this practice, receiving your life with each breath and releasing all that hinders the fullness of your work within me. God, as I focus on this rhythm, I realize that true renewal is holistic. It touches the physical, emotional, and spiritual parts of my being. When I breathe deeply in your presence, tension unravels from my muscles, anxiety softens from my thoughts, and my spirit rises into the quiet assurance that you are making all things new. Let this awareness guide me throughout the day, so that even in moments of stress, my body and soul remember the sanctuary of your breath, the healing that flows when I surrender fully to you. Father, teach me that renewal is not a single event, but a continuous process. Each morning, you invite me to begin again, to embrace the newness of the day, and to trust that your Spirit will work through every situation. Let me recognize that the same power that breathed life into creation breathes into me now, restoring what is broken, energizing what is weary, and guiding what is unsure. Even when I cannot see immediate change, let me trust that the work is being done within and around me, quietly, perfectly, and according to your design. Lord, I also seek the renewal of perspective. Often, I focus too heavily on problems, losses, and limitations, letting them shape the way I see the world. Yet your breath carries clarity, lifting the fog of confusion and replacing it with insight, understanding, and hope. Let me inhale this clarity deeply, allowing it to shape my thoughts, attitudes, and decisions. Teach me to respond to challenges not from fear or reaction, but from wisdom and calm that flow from you. God, help me to renew my relationships through this rhythm. Let the breath of your Spirit soften any tension, heal past hurts, and inspire words of encouragement and love. When conflicts arise, remind me to pause, breathe in your patience, and exhale kindness and understanding. Let my interactions today be influenced by the life you breathe into me, reflecting your presence in every conversation, gesture, and encounter. Father, I want this renewal to reach the deepest parts of my soul, the places where fear, doubt, and regret have lingered. Let your breath penetrate every hidden corner, refreshing old wounds and bringing light where darkness once resided. Each inhalation brings your life, and each exhalation releases the chains that have bound me. Let me feel lighter, freer, and more aligned with your will as I participate in this sacred rhythm. Lord, help me to carry this breath of renewal into my work, my decisions, and my daily responsibilities. Let it influence the way I approach challenges, ensuring that my actions are guided by your spirit rather than by stress or impatience. When obstacles appear, let me meet them with the calm and confidence that come from knowing your renewal is at work in me, enabling me to respond with creativity, compassion, and perseverance. God, remind me that renewal is a gift I can access at any moment. Whenever I feel burdened, anxious, or depleted, I can return to this rhythm of breathing in your spirit and releasing what does not serve your purposes. Let this practice become a habit, shaping not just my mornings, but every moment of my day, infusing me with your life, energy, and guidance. Father, as I move forward, let each breath I take be an offering of surrender, gratitude, and openness. Let it anchor me in your presence, align me with your will, and empower me to live fully in your love. May the rhythm of your spirit sustain me, refresh me, and transform me, so that the renewal I experience within flows outward, touching every life I encounter, and reflecting your eternal goodness and faithfulness. Father, as I continue to breathe in your spirit and feel the renewal flowing through my soul, I sense you guiding me toward wisdom, the quiet, steady light that illuminates choices and clarifies paths, even when the future seems uncertain. This wisdom is not measured by knowledge alone, nor by human understanding. It is a gift from you, Lord, cultivated through trust, patience, and the experiences that have shaped my heart. I desire to walk today under this light, allowing it to influence my thoughts, my words, and my actions in alignment with your will. Lord, I confess how often I have relied on my own reasoning, attempting to control outcomes or navigate challenges without seeking your counsel. In those moments, I found temporary solutions but lacked lasting clarity. You remind me that true wisdom begins with humility, acknowledging that I do not have all the answers and that only you see the full tapestry of life. Let me approach each situation with openness, ready to hear your guidance, and willing to let your insight shape my perspective rather than my own assumptions. God, teach me that wisdom is not simply about avoiding mistakes, but understanding the lessons embedded within them. Each choice I make, each action I take, carries consequences that stretch beyond what I can foresee. Grant me the discernment to recognize opportunities for growth and the humility to learn from missteps. Let me view challenges as classrooms, where patience, courage, and love are the curriculum, and your spirit is the teacher guiding each lesson. Father, I want this wisdom to touch every part of my life, from the small decisions that seem inconsequential to the weightier choices that shape my future. Help me to distinguish between what is urgent and what is essential, between what demands immediate attention and what requires thoughtful reflection. Let your Spirit slow my hurried thoughts, temper my impulses, and provide the clarity that comes only from resting in you. Lord, teach me to extend this wisdom into my interactions with others. Let me listen with discernment, speak with intention, and act with compassion. When conflict arises, may I respond not from anger or pride, but from understanding and empathy. When decisions impact others, let my choices reflect justice, kindness, and integrity. Let your light guide me in seeing situations from perspectives I might otherwise overlook, allowing me to act with both courage and gentleness. God, I recognize that wisdom often requires patience, the ability to wait, to observe, and to act at the appropriate moment. Teach me not to rush into conclusions or force outcomes before you are ready. Let me trust that your timing is perfect, and that discernment grows through attentive reflection, prayer, and listening for your voice in stillness. Let me embrace the rhythm of thoughtful decision-making, understanding that haste rarely produces lasting fruit, while thoughtful alignment with you yields eternal results. Father, help me to guard my heart and mind against the pride that can accompany knowledge. Let me not mistake intelligence or experience for your wisdom. True insight begins with reverence, with recognizing that your perspective surpasses my own. Teach me to submit my thoughts to your Spirit, to weigh my reasoning against your word, and to seek counsel from your guidance rather than relying solely on my limited understanding. Let humility accompany every decision I make. Lord, wisdom is also a source of peace. When I act in alignment with your insight, I find confidence even in uncertainty. I am able to face challenges with composure, knowing that your guidance directs my steps. Let this peace accompany each choice I make, reducing fear, minimizing doubt, and replacing hesitation with assurance that you are leading me according to your perfect plan. Let the light of wisdom shine in my heart so that it may illuminate the path for those I encounter. God, let this wisdom deepen my relationship with you. Teach me to discern your voice above the distractions of the world, to recognize your promptings even when they are quiet, and to obey faithfully even when the path is unclear. Let me not only seek answers, but embrace the transformation that comes from living under your guidance. Let my life reflect discernment, integrity, and thoughtful action, drawing others to the light of your truth. Father, I ask that the gift of wisdom extend beyond decisions to my character, shaping my responses to adversity, my words in conversation, and my attitudes toward challenges. Let every choice I make today demonstrate discernment tempered with love, courage balanced with humility, and insight guided by grace. May my life become a living example of what it means to walk in your wisdom, reflecting your light to a world often clouded by haste and confusion. Lord, help me remember that true wisdom is not static, it grows, evolves, and deepens as I walk with you. Teach me to remain teachable, to seek understanding continually, and to rely on your Spirit for guidance in every circumstance. Let me embrace each lesson, each reflection, and each moment of insight as part of the ongoing journey toward the fullness of your wisdom. God, as I move through this day, let your wisdom guide every thought, word, and action. Let it protect me from error, illuminate the best path forward, and provide clarity when uncertainty threatens to overwhelm. May the light of your insight shine through me, offering guidance, hope, and understanding to those I meet. And as I walk in this wisdom, let my life bear witness to your presence, your guidance, and your unfailing love in every step I take. Father, as wisdom flows through my heart and settles gently in my spirit, I sense you calling me to dwell in joy that is not dependent upon circumstances, recognition, or comfort, but that springs naturally from your presence. This joy, Lord, is like a river that begins quietly in the hidden places of the soul, nourished by trust, forgiveness, patience, and hope, and then flows outward, touching every corner of life. I want to drink deeply from this river today, allowing its currents to lift my heart, refresh my mind, and overflow into the lives of those I encounter. Lord, I confess the times when I have sought joy in fleeting pleasures, in achievements that fade, or in recognition that passes quickly. Those moments left my heart restless and my spirit longing for more. You are teaching me that true joy is not found in what the world offers, but in alignment with your will, in surrender to your timing, and in the quiet awareness of your unchanging love. Let me learn to rejoice even when circumstances appear imperfect, knowing that your presence alone is the source of enduring delight. God, joy is not a denial of challenges, difficulties, or pain. It does not erase sorrow or dismiss struggle. Rather, it coexists with them, transforming perspective and infusing every trial with meaning. When adversity arises, let this joy remain, steady as a lighthouse in the storm, guiding my thoughts and actions with clarity and courage. Teach me to celebrate not only the victories, but also the lessons hidden in hardship. For every experience carries the potential to deepen gratitude and strengthen faith. Father, I want this joy to influence my interactions with others. Let it soften my words, brighten my demeanor, and inspire hope in those who are weary. May my laughter carry encouragement, my presence offer comfort, and my outlook reflect the confidence that comes from resting in your promises. Teach me to be a channel of joy, extending your love and light to every relationship, encounter, and conversation. Let others sense the river flowing through me even when I do not speak of it, so that your spirit is reflected in the happiness and hope I share. Lord, teach me that joy is cultivated, not forced. It grows from the seeds of gratitude, compassion, forgiveness, and faith, nurtured by deliberate focus on your truth. Help me to recognize the ordinary moments as sacred, the warmth of morning sunlight, the gentle rhythm of breath, the laughter of friends and family, the kindness of strangers, and the quiet moments of reflection. Each is a tributary feeding the river of joy within me, building a current that cannot be shaken by external circumstances. God, let joy temper my response to challenges. When setbacks arise, let it be a gentle reminder that your plan is unfolding, that lessons are being learned, and that opportunities for growth are present even in difficulty. When tension or conflict threatens my peace, let joy be my anchor, softening harsh thoughts, opening my heart to understanding, and encouraging patience. Teach me to respond not in despair, but in hope, recognizing that the river flows even through rocks and obstacles, carving a path of resilience and strength. Father, I want my joy to remain steady, even when life presents uncertainty. Let it be rooted in the knowledge that you are sovereign, that your love never wavers, and that your care extends beyond what I can see. Teach me to trust that the river of joy flows through every season, expanding in abundance when I embrace your presence and surrender to your guidance. Let it fill the spaces within me that once held fear, doubt, or resentment, replacing them with warmth, light, and a sense of peace. Lord, I also seek joy in the act of giving, in extending blessings to others without expectation of return. Let my service, compassion, and encouragement be fueled by this joy, so that I can share freely what you have poured into me. Teach me that the act of bringing joy to others multiplies it within my own heart, creating a cycle of abundance that reflects your generosity and grace. Even small gestures of kindness, when offered with love, become streams feeding the river that sustains and uplifts. God, let this joy remind me of your faithfulness throughout my life. When I recall past trials, I can see how you have guided me, strengthened me, and brought beauty from struggle. Let that remembrance fuel confidence in today and hope for tomorrow. Teach me to live with expectation, knowing that your goodness continues to flow, and that your spirit renews me with every breath. Let the river of joy within me remain unbroken, no matter the circumstances I face. Father, as this morning continues to unfold, I choose to dwell in your joy deliberately. Let it govern my thoughts, influence my actions, and shape my words. Let it be visible to others, not as an artificial cheerfulness, but as a reflection of your enduring presence and abundant grace. Teach me that this joy is a testimony, a living declaration of your love, a current that can refresh, uplift, and inspire. Lord, may every step I take today be guided by this joy, every decision influenced by its perspective, and every interaction colored by its light. Let it sustain me in challenges, inspire me in opportunities, and remain a constant reminder of your goodness. Even in the smallest moments, let the river flow freely, uniting my heart with yours, carrying peace, hope, and encouragement to every life it touches, so that the world might witness the quiet, unwavering power of joy that comes from you. Father, as this journey of prayer draws to its present moment, I come before you with a heart overflowing with gratitude, awe, and quiet anticipation. The path we have walked together, from the depths of longing to the gentle flow of joy, has reminded me of your unending faithfulness and the boundless ways you move within my life. Lord, Today I stand not at a conclusion, but at the threshold of a new beginning, where every lesson learned, every seed of faith planted, and every whisper of your spirit leads me forward into your light. I feel the weight of yesterday's burdens lifting, replaced by the gentle rhythm of your presence, as though the world itself pauses to honor the sanctity of this moment. God, I acknowledge that this prayer has been more than words. It has been an invitation to dwell fully within your embrace, to breathe in your spirit, and to allow your guidance to shape my inner landscape. Through it, you have reminded me that life is a continuous unfolding of mercy, grace, and renewal. The fears that once constrained my heart now seem distant echoes, and the doubts that shadowed my spirit are softened by the certainty of your love. Even when the future feels uncertain, I feel the quiet assurance that you are already there, arranging every detail with care, purpose, and unwavering devotion. Father, as I reflect on the journey of this morning prayer, I am struck by the breadth of your gifts, patience that steadies me, forgiveness that liberates me, hope that lifts me, compassion that softens me, and joy that sustains me. Each has been a current flowing into my soul, carrying life, peace, and renewal. I recognize that these blessings are not merely for my own sake. They are tools to be shared, lights to be reflected into the lives of others, and living testimonies of your boundless goodness. Teach me to carry them forward, Lord, with humility and gratitude, so that every action, every word, and every thought becomes a reflection of your eternal love. Lord, I pray now for the continued guidance of your Spirit, that it may accompany me through the hours ahead. Let the lessons of this prayer remain alive within me, shaping my interactions, decisions, and intentions. May I remain attentive to the quiet promptings of your heart, ready to act in alignment with your will, and open to the opportunities you place before me to serve, love, and inspire. Let the rhythm of prayer, reflection, and presence be a constant companion, reminding me that even the smallest moments hold sacred significance when approached with faith and intention. God, I also ask for the courage to live authentically, to love unreservedly, and to trust wholly in your plan. Help me to embrace each day with openness, resilience, and joy, and knowing that your Spirit moves within and through me. Let me not be discouraged by setbacks or overwhelmed by challenges, but let every obstacle become an invitation to rely more deeply upon your wisdom and strength. May I meet each moment with clarity, patience, and grace, recognizing that your power works most profoundly in the hearts that yield to you completely. Father, as the final threads of this prayer weave together, I give thanks for the continuity of your presence. Though this chapter closes in words, I know the journey of faith continues without end. Let the foundation built through these prayers sustain me in moments of doubt, illuminate my path when uncertainty arises, and renew my spirit whenever weariness threatens to settle in. Teach me to remain anchored in your love, attuned to your guidance, and mindful of your blessings in every step I take. Lord, may the grace of this morning extend beyond this prayer into the entirety of my day. Let every breath I take be a conscious reminder of your life within me. Let every gesture, every decision, and every conversation carry the reflection of your spirit, offering hope, encouragement, and love to those I meet. Teach me to embody the lessons of patience, service, forgiveness, hope, peace, and joy, so that each day becomes an act of living prayer, a testament to your enduring presence in my life. God, I thank you for guiding me through this journey, for walking with me through the layers of reflection, and for revealing the depths of your love and care. I am grateful for the opportunity to pause, reflect, and commune with you in this sacred way. May the spirit of this prayer remain alive within me, encouraging me to approach each day with renewed faith, unwavering trust, and open-hearted devotion as the light of dawn spreads gently across the horizon. Father, let it be a symbol of your constant presence in my life, a soft illumination that casts away shadows, warms my spirit, and carries the promise of new beginnings. May this gentle light remind me that even when challenges appear, your love remains steady and your guidance ever near. Let the breeze that stirs the morning air whisper of your mercy, your grace, and your faithfulness, refreshing my heart and renewing my spirit. Thank you, Father, for walking with me through this journey of prayer. Thank you for the quiet strength, the deep peace, and the abiding hope you have poured into my life. I invite all who listen to share their hearts, to reflect upon their own experiences of your presence, and to continue nurturing the life of faith, hope, and love that grows in communion with you. May this moment inspire continued trust, ongoing prayer, and the persistent pursuit of your guidance in every day that follows. For those who have journeyed to the end of this prayer, I encourage you to share your reflections, your gratitude, and your prayers below. Let this be a space where faith is strengthened, hope is renewed, and the Spirit moves freely among us. Subscribe, share, and continue nurturing a life of devotion, allowing the lessons of this morning to extend beyond words into daily practice, carrying your love, peace, and guidance into every interaction, every decision, and every heartbeat throughout the day. And as the morning unfolds, may the soft light of the rising sun touch your soul, the gentle breeze caress your spirit, and the flowing waters of life remind you that your journey with God is ever renewing, ever present, and ever filled with promise, opening the heart to new possibilities. Endless grace and unwavering trust in His eternal love